The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everybody, and we'll get started shortly. Can I just say welcome, hello, and can I check that you can actually hear me? If you can hear me, can I ask a couple of you just to raise your hand on the GoToMeeting taskbar? Then I'll make sure I'm getting through loud and clear. There's a little hand on your blue or orange GoToMeeting flower. If you can raise that, then I make sure I'm getting through. If no one raises that, then oh, thank you very much. I can see a couple of you there. Much appreciated. Thank you. So now I'm getting through. It is now 1 o'clock. So let's get started. The first thing I want to say is this session is all about you. This is for people that have just joined my email marketing list. It's for solicitors that have been with me a while. I see some Marketing for Solicitors members on there. These are people that pay to get extra stuff from me. And I'll tell you how you can do that at the end. So it's a session that really is all about you. There's some points I want to share with you, but I want to make it as powerful and effective for you as possible. So that means ask questions, get involved. Don't sit there thinking, well, I'm not really sure what he's saying. I wish I knew what the answer to this question was. I'm here to help, so please do fire away, and from time to time I'll pause to answer those questions, so I won't ignore them. I'll answer them all live today, and if you have to go off and we finish, I'll keep on answering. You can watch the recording later, so please fire away with your questions. Make sure you do make use of my time today. I'll also ask for a couple of websites to review at certain points, so if you can type in your website URL, I will come to those and have a look and do a live critique for you, which I hope you will find it useful and valuable. So again, put those in the questions bar, which is on a little the little GoToMeeting taskbar. It has a questions part. Type in your question in there, and away we go. So what I want to talk to you about today is how you can set up systems to get more clients monthly on autopilot with or without your input, because I've been doing this for a long time now. I've been working with solicitors for far too long. I was in practice until 2002-03. I left in 2003, set up my company to do marketing for law firms, and I've been working with solicitors ever since. So I know what it's like on your side of the desk. I know what it's like to have to bring in the targets, to manage a department, and to do the marketing for a firm whilst also just trying to get on with stuff. So the truth of the matter is you've got to automate these marketing systems so that they work with or without your input, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So as I say, I understand where you are. I know what you're going through, and today I want to share with you 3 steps. Simple steps. We've only got an hour, so 3 main points we'll cover, like these palm trees, that you can tick off. You can make sure you're doing well. If not, you can improve them, and you can start getting more clients through. At the end of the webinar, I'll give you notes. I'll tell you how to get the handouts. I'll tell you how to get hold of any resources we refer to, so you don't need to take lots of notes. You can just sit back, relax, and ask questions and get information to help you move your practice forward. So, as I said, I'm going to ask you questions all the way through. If you can answer me now, this would be useful for me because I could come back to it. What do you find the hardest thing about marketing? What is it that makes you go, oh, if only I could do that? My practice would be much more successful. I'd be much happier. Tell me, what is it that makes you think about marketing, because I can come back to this and make sure we can tick it off so that it's not a block for you anymore. So, is it one particular aspect? Is it the whole thing? Is it finding time, which is a big one? Tell me in the questions box, and I'll come back and answer that. So first off, why do I go on and on about trying to automate your marketing? Why do I say it's so important that you get this set up so that it works with or without you? Well, I worked with a solicitor who was getting it really, really badly wrong. His marketing evolved around him just ad hoc marketing, and what would happen was he'd do some marketing sometimes when he was quiet, and then he wouldn't do anything for a long time, and so what he had was big peaks and troughs of things not happening as he would like them to, not getting enough work in, and it was a bit of a challenge. It wasn't much fun. It was controlling him, he wasn't controlling it, so it wasn't a lot of fun. He suddenly realized that he was doing the same as most solicitors out there, and he was doing things far too randomly, needed to systemize it, needed to make his marketing work so that it worked with or without him. And he put about he went about changing that and putting in place systems so that his marketing happened with or without his input, using outsourced suppliers when he needed to. The result, success, a steady stream of more clients monthly, consistently getting more clients coming to him with or without his input, and everything works very well, as it should do. And the reason I'm sharing that story with you is because it's what I did when I set up my consultancy. From going to a solicitor to being a marketing consultant, at first everything I did was completely random, and I made all the mistakes that solicitors were making in the process of their marketing. I was doing what solicitors did in private practice, and it meant I fully understood what their challenges were because I was doing them in my own business. I slapped myself very hard around the face with a cold wet mackerel, and put in place systems that I had in my previous firms, and lo and behold, my practice has thankfully been successful ever since. The reason I share this with you is because it frustrates me no end that solicitors out there, some solicitors are struggling when I know I can help them. I don't want you to go through that period of pain. I've had clients come to me 3 years after being on my email marketing list and say, Nick, I needed help. I should have come to you 3 years ago. They changed things around. Everything goes very well, and they think, oh, crikey, what a fool. Why didn't I do that sooner? So I will say to you, I'm here to help. I don't charge for initial chats, and I'll explain how we can have a chat later. Don't sit there and worry and think there's not enough work out there. There is plenty of work out there for you. I've got clients that are beating their year-on-year targets before the year's ending. So there is plenty of work out there. Don't think that's not the case. Don't listen to the media. The media is a very bad and negative thing and should be cancelled. There is plenty of work out there. So it's just a case of working out how you can get it coming to you. So let's move on to the first part. I'll just answer one question at the moment which has come in. And it's about getting buy-in to your marketing from other staff. Now, I don't know, can I clarify, is that a question from a partner or a solicitor in a firm? Perhaps if you could type that very quickly into the questions box. But if I go about answering it twofold. Firstly, you've got to have buy-in from the top. The partners have to be involved. If you're in a larger firm, as some of my marketing solicitors members are, if you're in a larger firm and the partners aren't really committed to marketing, they say go off and do your own thing if you fancy it, but they're not really giving you support. The only way you can have success is by being given complete carte blanche control over your department marketing, getting on and doing it, and telling them that you'll be judged at the end of the year by results. Because if the partners aren't buying in, they'll stop everything and the process will take 10 times as long. If you're the partner in a firm, then if you believe in it, then what you've got to do is communicate that to the staff and make sure they understand exactly what's going on, what you're doing to promote the practice, and how important it is. And the thing I've found with that is, working with lots of people on a one-on-one basis, a partner suddenly said, I'm going to start communicating this to the staff, telling them what we're doing and why we're doing it, and I want to see buy-in. It won't happen instantly. You have to show that the staff that you're committed to this, and over a period of months you will get their buy-in. But if they've heard you say, oh, I'm definitely doing this now, and then it stopped happening, they don't quite believe it. So they need to see the action happening, and you need to tell them what's going on, and then they will buy in. And the buy-in has to come from you saying, this is a part of your job now. And when we sit down at the monthly or quarterly reviews, it includes saying, have you done the things you said you'd last do to promote your business, to promote the practice, to promote the service you provide? If not, then it has to form part of disciplinary, just like it would do if they weren't bringing in the cost for you. So let's go back to what we're doing today. Keep the questions coming. As I say, in a moment I'm going to look at someone's website. So if you want a live website review, and I'll be nice, I promise, put in your website URL, type in www. followed by your website, put that in now to questions, and I'll come to that shortly. I need a live website, so if you don't give me one, I'll just have to pick one at random from the internet, but I'd much rather it was one of yours to make it far more useful. So pop that into the questions box for me and I will get to it. So what we're looking at now is more people finding you, because if more people find you, you'll have more inquiries, and more of those inquiries will turn into instructions. So I am sure that you are in a position where you're sitting there thinking, I'm good at what I do, I'm good at the legal service I provide. If I had more people coming to me, I will be able to help more, and I will obviously get more clients and more profit costs. So how can we do this? Well, the important thing, as I said, is that we get this process automated. So we get people coming to you without you having to do all the legwork, without you having to run around and find them and bring them to you. We get them coming to you automatically. And the easiest way of making this happen is to get your website working harder for you. And if you do that right, when you make the changes I talk about today, these are changes that you make once that stay with you forever, because when you make a change to a website, it's still there the next month. It's not like a paper advert that you put in, it's disappeared and it's gone. It's still there month after month after month. So getting your website right is absolutely vital. So we're going to spend some time on that because it will bring you more clients and more consistently. It does involve some changes, and I know that solicitors particularly can be wary of changes, but if you're having problems getting changes made to your website, change your website designer. There's 1,000,001 of them out there. They charge a fraction of your hourly rate. A good website designer won't cost you more than £50 an hour, and you'll get everything you want done. And you should be off earning £200 an hour or more while they're making your website changes. So if until now the process of changing your website has been painful, change your website designer. If you need me to recommend one, I can gladly help you. Because it shouldn't be a problem, and it should be something you can easily change. It should have its own content management system. Again, if it doesn't, that can be changed reasonably easily. And if you're thinking, what do you spend on a website? Anything from £1,000 to £3,000, you can get pretty much what you want these days. And that would be, I'd choose a WordPress platform, and away you go. So as I say, if you've got any questions about that, feel free to fire away. So the benefit of making these changes is that once you make them, your website is improved not only for the clients that are recommended to you already and go and check you out online, it's improved for everyone else that comes across your website. So it will keep on working for you time and time again. So it is definitely well worth the time to make the changes to your website that you need to be made. And the reason why it's so powerful as a tool comes from, you have to understand the type of marketing it is. And it's graphically demonstrated by this image on screen. But that's for a reason, because I want this to stick in your mind, so that when you're being approached by the snake oil salesman who's trying to sell you that last-minute advertising, which if you don't take, your competitor's going to take, and you'll be out of business next year, just sort of the sales model the Yellow Pages used to use when they had a business. I want you to be able to think of this and go, no, Nick said this type of marketing isn't very good. I should spend the money somewhere else. So the peacock, when he's looking to mate, fans his tail, looks beautiful, gets approached by the girls, he's very happy. The elephant's approach is far less subtle. So you've got what I call attraction marketing and interruption marketing. You want to be using the peacock's approach. So you want to think, I want to be in front of someone at the time that they're looking to choose a solicitor. I want them to be looking already, and then I pop up, fan my tail, and they come to me instead of choosing Smithers Jones solicitors. So you need to think, is this attraction or interruption marketing? And to give you an example, if you're talking about a newspaper, the primary purpose of what I'm doing is reading that newspaper. If I see your advertisement in front of me, you're trying to interrupt me, stop me reading, to look at your advertisement, to then go off and take action and get in touch with you. So you've got to change my whole mindset. The same is said of Facebook, of LinkedIn, of all Twitter or anything like that. That's interruption marketing. You're trying to stop me doing what I'm doing and get me to do something else. You're like the elephant trying to whack me around the head and get me to do something else. So the website isn't like that, because if I go to Google and type in, I need a family law solicitor, I need a commercial solicitor, a landlord solicitor, I'm already looking for a solicitor. So all you need to do is fan your tail, put your website in front of me, and I'm much more likely to become a client. So remember those pictures when you've got the snake oil salesman on the telephone to you. Remember to make sure you think, is this attraction? Is someone already looking and I'm being put in front of them? Or are they making me advertise, trying to stop them doing what they're doing to come and use my services? So website is definitely attraction marketing. We're talking peacock here. So 2 jobs of your website. We're going to look at both of these because they're equally as important. The first job is to get more visitors to your website, and the second job is to turn those visitors into clients. So we're going to have a look at someone's website now. Thankfully, a couple of you have given me some website URLs, so let's go and have a look. This is where all my typing skills come to play. My daughter can type almost as quickly as me, but I still think I can beat her. We have such fun talking about that, right? Stilford Newton, hello. So things I want to pick out particularly, and I won't go to the homepage because your homepage is the place you can express yourself and you can look different. You can put up some more information. So that's not really what I'm looking for now. Let's go to one of the business pages. Let's go to commercial property. if I can get down. But okay, I'd say the navigation's slightly annoying. If you don't go down right in the center here, the navigation disappears, in my word. Okay, so that might want tweaking. So let's go to commercial property. The first thing is there enough content on this page for me to be able to work out what this website is about? Yes, there is plenty of content. What I like is we've got a heading, we got some bullet points and explanations. There's some elements missing which I'll come back to, but different types of people like to see different presentations. So some people like to skim read, some people like to see images, so maybe we could have some imagery on the page which might tie up to the subject matter, but still look good, not be massive, but just a small square image or circular image in one of these gaps would lighten the page somewhat. And is there enough information on here to answer my questions? So we've got an explanation of the services, we've got something else about auction disposals. Probably what I'd want to see, the areas that aren't ticked off are what's the cost position, is it going to cost me to get in touch? Don't know, because that's not answered. And the important thing to bear in mind is most people will only look at between 1 to 3 pages on your website. We all like to think we've got a beautiful special website, and people will spend hours looking at it. They won't. Most people will look at 1 or 2 pages on your website. So your job, if I type in commercial property solicitors and I land on this page, your job is to convince me on this page to get on the phone to you or to fill in your inquiry form and get in touch. So you've got to cover off my concerns about costs. Is it going to cost me to talk to you before I can work out whether I'm actually likely to make contact with you? So I'd say that's something that needs to be covered, and every page that's a service page needs to cover off their core concerns that your clients, potential clients, are going to have, which is it going to cost me? Have they got the expertise I need? Is there enough content to make me think they really do a lot of this stuff? Is there enough information within the commercial property section to make me think this is a core part of their service, or it's a sideline? And if I'm doing commercial property, I probably want to see 5, 6, 7, 10 pages all about the commercial property services. So perhaps that could be improved and expanded. Now behind the page, and I'll do this quickly, but you can ask me any questions about it. You want to see what's behind the page making up this page, because this is what Google looks at to assess how far up the search engines it puts you in the results. So if you click anywhere on the page of content and click View Page Source, or if you're on a Mac, you click on the Developer button, and there's a button there to see. The first thing we're looking for is a title at the top of the page which says what this page is all about, which I can't find. It looks like there's some heavy content management on there. Right, so here's our title: Commercial Property Solicitors, Steel, Ford and Newton. So I'd say got commercial property solicitors in there, which is good. What I'd be more likely to put is your location rather than the firm name, which only needs to be really heavily promoted on the home page. Put the area you are in geographically. So I think that says Nelson, Burnley. So I'd put expert commercial property solicitors Burnley or Nelson, whichever area you're targeting. So you try and target geographically as well as the area of law. So the first thing is your title, and then the description is the next bit. And the reason we are concerned about this is because if I go and Google somewhere now, so if I do, where are we, commercial property solicitors. So if I do commercial property, then let's put Burnley. What comes up here is what the title tag, which I showed you on this page there. That's the first line, and then the next line, the sales pitch to get people to click through to your website, and that's exactly what it is and should be, is the description tag here. So your job is to get the traffic by using targeted terms, so commercial property solicitors Burnley, and then the description tag to make people want to click through and actually look at your website. Excuse me. So your job is twofold, and if you don't get these descriptions right, then you might get to the top of Google, but I might not click on it because it doesn't tell me anything. If it says, click here, give me a free review, and here we are. We've got conveyancing solicitors, Steel, Ford and Newton, but we're not coming up with a commercial property page, probably because it's not as targeted and it hasn't got Burnley in that title tag, as I said there. So definitely there's some things you can do there, and if you do that on every page of your website, let me just tell you that making those changes, getting the right amount of content, having a mixture of bullet points, information, covering off the concerns of your visitor. Have you got the expertise? Is this going to cost me to get in touch? Making the back bits, the coding right, and I've shown you how to do that, so you can watch the replay if you want to see that, but you don't have to do it yourself, but you have to know what needs to be there so you can check up on it. If you get those bits right, then you can dramatically change the results of your website. And I did this with one client who's worked with me on a More Clients Monthly consultancy basis. And in his first month of working with me, it's a 3-month process. In his first month of working with me, he went through and made these changes, and I pointed out what needed to be done. He went away and made the changes, got his web designer to do it, but told him how to do it. And just by doing that, within 3 days of making those changes, he had more visitors to his website and he's getting more inquiries. It was that simple. So, you know, this is stuff you can take away now, and thank you for someone from Steelforge just thanked me for the feedback. Happy to give that. If you've got any other questions after, just fire away. But it made those changes and got dramatic improvements instantly. So it can happen to you, and it's happened to many other of my clients. So please don't sit there and think, you know, I can't do this stuff, it's too difficult. This is really simple stuff. And the good news is once you make these changes, your website immediately starts improving. And if you're like that solicitor, you start getting more inquiries, you start getting more clients, you start getting more instructions. It's a very good thing to do. It's a very good good use of your time. So will you do it? What's your website like? What changes are you going to make to your website now? You know, pop in the questions box. Have you seen something that you need to do to your site? Tell me, are you actually going to do it? Or do you want me to kick you harder to make you do it? Because it is just about getting this stuff done. It's not rocket science, but it is massively important. I have yet to find, I've been asked many a time, Nick, give me a solicitor's website which is perfect, which has got it all. And I've yet to find it. And I've you know, I look at thousands of these things. So, you know, you can make these changes and you can see a dramatic improvement over and above your competitors. Well, what difference would that make to you? You know, if you had more client inquiries every day, if today, at the moment you're getting 1 inquiry a day, suddenly you get 2 inquiries a day, and that turns into 1 new client a day, what difference does that make to your practice? What difference does that make to you? Let me know. Like I say, this is interactive. I want your involvement because I want this to be as powerful as possible for you. So have you seen something that's made you think, yes, that helps? Are you going to do something? What's wrong with your website? And do you want me to look at your website in a minute? There's another one I'm going to have a look at shortly that's already up there. If you'd like me to look at yours, do that as well. But, you know, I'm keen, like I say, I don't want you sitting there thinking there's not enough work out there, because there's plenty. But you have to do things to make it happen. Someone's asked if I can recommend a website designer. Happy to do that. Just email me after the event. I'll send a follow-up with the links. Tell me what you're looking for, and I'll put you in touch with somebody. But as I say, it's for me, it's about you actually making a choice, deciding to do something, taking some action, crossing over the line, and starting to see some results so that you end up with more clients monthly, because that's what it's all about. Anything else from anyone else, please fire away. I'm going to march on because time presses on. But as I say, make use of me. You know, I do charge over £1,000 a day for consultancy. You might find that hard to believe listening now, but it's true. So while you've got me on this free webinar, please don't be afraid. Just ask away. I get a lot of pleasure from answering questions, clearing stumbling blocks for people. So if there's something you're thinking, oh, I really know, I don't know how to ask, just put something up there and I'll talk about it. Someone said, hi, Nick. Hi. It doesn't give me the name next to it, so I can't see who that is. Oh, yes, I can. There it is. Hello, Richard. Right, let's move on. So first part was getting more people to find your website. The second part was getting more people to make contact with you. So that's what we're going to look at now. Let's start with your current problem. And at the moment, as I said, people will look at 1 to 3 pages on your website, and they will spend at most, or on average, 1 to 3 minutes on your website. So there's not a lot of time for you to get this right, but there's a lot of time for you to get it wrong, because if they don't like what they see, they will disappear and they will go somewhere else and they are gone. So I want you to think about, if you're coming from Bristol where I live and you're going to Buckingham Palace and you put the address into your sat nav and someone starts going down the M4, which is good, and they get onto the A4 and they're coming along nicely and they get to the GlaxoSmithKline building, which you probably all know at Brentford, thinking this is wonderful, getting much closer to Buckingham Palace now. And then the sat-nav just stops, says, I've got you close enough, you do the rest, you work out how to get there the rest of the way, I've done most of my job, off you go. You would soon be parting company with that sat nav probably aiming at the SmithKline building, it wouldn't have completed its job. I can almost guarantee that this is how people are feeling on your website at the moment. They are sitting there like this gorilla, getting to a certain point thinking, well, this firm looks good. I like the sound of them. That's looking really promising. And then they get to a point where they're just about to make contact and they go because you haven't done your job properly. So if you can fix this problem, you can stop your clients being like the guy in the top half thinking, I'm not going to use those. Instead, looking like the very smiley chap at the bottom saying, yes, I'm going to make contact now. I'm going to choose this firm. You've got to get this right. So if you get it right, again, it's a simple change because I know that these changes can make a massive difference. Then you can get more inquiries instantly. So let's look at this. And this picture always reminds me of our friends have got a daughter who, bless her, has only got 4 fingers, so she doesn't do high fives, she does high fours. So at some point I'm going to have to take the thumb off this because it always reminds me of her. She's such a darling. Don't leave me hanging. So I come onto your website and say, I look around, I like what I see, and I am thinking about making contact, and then I get to the bottom and think, and I left this page up because it was a problem on this page. You've not told me what to do. So I've got to the bottom of this page, and if I'm thinking this firm is for me, Stillford Newton are the firm I'm going to choose, I get to the bottom and it just says contact us. That's not strong enough. You have to spell out exactly what I do. So there should be a subheading, because we like subheadings, that breaks up the page, that says free inquiry or make an inquiry, and then you tell me how I can make an inquiry, because don't assume that I'm going to come back up here and fill in these boxes because you haven't told me to. And you have to spell it out to all of these clients. So don't assume that I'm going to do that. Spell it out to me. Make sure that I know exactly what I'm going to do. There was another website I was given. If I can scroll back up. Let's have a look at that. Work away, work away. Okay, that's not done so well. Let's see if we can get to this one. First thing I'd say is that the page load speed seems slow, so it might be worth having a look at that. Let's go to one of the services pages on here. Yeah, I definitely ask your people to have a look at the speed. And the first thing I'd say is I look at this page, and I use a lot of websites, and I see the list is over here, and mostly that's happening because web companies are saying, oh, do it, it's mobile, everything's on the right on mobile. let me just point out that the majority of people reviewing legal services are not using mobile. It might be 7%, 8%. The majority are actually looking on a screen this size, and we read left to right. It's been proven so many times. You read in the shape of an F, so we look across the top line, we come down here, and then we look over here. So we're looking for where shall I go, where shall I go? So navigation on the right doesn't work at the moment for a main website. It might do for mobile, but that could be a separate thing. So I have a list of services repeated in the middle of this page whilst we've got the navigation on the right. So let's go into families. It's the first one. Usually means it's the most important. And are you leaving me hanging? No, you've told me I can make contact. The thing I'd say about that is, again, give it a subheading that gives me a call to action, free inquiry, make it a free inquiry. Trying to sell an appointment from a website isn't the best thing because I might just want to speak to someone first to make sure you're the right firm for me. And contact us, that sounds formal, call us on, give the phone number, and I wouldn't go straight into selling fixed fee. I'd discuss it. I'd put, as you've done, new fixed fee divorce, I'd emphasize that you've got this off service, but I wouldn't go into putting the price on there because then what I'm likely to do is go onto another website and go straight off and use yours as a price comparison service. So I worked with a massive national conveyancing company that overnight put an instant quote calculator on their website and lost all of their inquiries because suddenly they were just using price comparison. So I'd emphasize that you offer fixed fee, but I wouldn't then go and put it through. If anyone else wants me to look at their website, please feel free to fire away. So what we're saying here on the slide is don't leave me hanging. If you've got to the bit that you've given me all this information and I'm now thinking, yes, this is the firm for me, don't leave it there. Don't stop. Go the next length and get me to get in touch with you by making it really, really simple for me to do so. And if you do this, if you make these changes, which will take you seconds to do, it will instantly increase your profit cost, your client instructions. It is that simple. There will be clients at the moment getting your website, finding everything, and then at the last minute going, do you know what? I'm off. You haven't quite answered my questions, which is why, and I wasn't going to mention this, but it seems an appropriate time. It's exactly why I've created this new software tool that pops up after 30 seconds, because by that time someone's shown that they're interested and they might just be thinking, do you know what, I'm not sure if I'll contact this firm, not sure there's enough information, have they covered all of the arguments that I've said, have they dealt with all the points that I wanted covered, I'm not really sure, not entirely certain. And before they get to the point where they're going to leave, and 30 seconds always seems like an incredibly long period of time when you're doing a live demonstration, but the idea is, and it might not work if I've been on this site today, no, thank goodness it is, that at that 30-second point, the website genie pops up and it says, we're here to help you with any questions. So that person, the difference is with this over an inquiry form is it's now interacting with me. I've got to choose yes or no. If I click yes, if I click no, it disappears and it won't bother me again because it's set to only appear once to one person once a day, so if they come back, it will come back tomorrow. But if I click yes, the first thing we want to know is, what's the question you've got? What position are you at? Why have you not yet contacted us? So we want them to know that. So I'm not sure if you could help me. And some of my best clients have come to me using that opening line on legal services sites and on consultancy sites, on different ones. Once they send that question, normally they will ask one or two sentences, often a couple of paragraphs. They've committed to this process. They now want this answer, so they will go ahead and they will add their contact details. And what that means is instantly, you've got two things here. I won't put my telephone number. As soon as I send that, off the inquiry goes, thanks, we'll be in touch. Now the important thing is there's two things there. One, you've got someone saying, I'm on a page on your website, I'm not sure if I should contact you. So the content on that page could be improved to say, look, if you've got any legal question, contact us and we're here to help you. We will guide you through the process. So that's one thing done. So you can improve the content on the page that client was on, because what the website genie does, your website genie does, is tell you which page the client was on before they submitted this question, so you can improve that content. So that's the first part, that even if they don't become a client, it's given you intelligence that you can use to improve the performance of your website as a whole. Secondly, as soon as they fill in their email address and click send, you get an email with their question into your inbox, whatever address you've asked for, and you now have a live lead. So it dramatically increases the amount of inquiries from your website. So if you did nothing else but went away from today and signed up for your website genie, which I'll give you the link for in the resources, but if you Google yourwebsitegenie.co.uk, you'll go straight there. Put that on your website, it will give you intelligence and also more leads. By putting stronger calls to action, by putting an interactive tool that generates more inquiries, you can instantly improve profit costs. And I assure you, having done this on one of our sites, it improved the conversion rate across the site by something like 0.5 percentage point. Now, you might think that's not a lot, but for every 200 visitors, that means you get one more inquiry. And when your website should be generating 2, 3, 5,000 visits a month, that's a lot more inquiries just by making a simple change. So as I say, it's all about today making you make changes. So will you do that? Will you make sure that there's a call to action on every page? Will you make sure there's enough content? Will you make sure you've ticked off that you really are experts in this matter? I've got a couple of questions that have come in, so I'll answer those now. If you've got more, please feel free to fire away. If someone's asked about getting the descriptions right, so I said behind this page, if we get the, let's have a look at the Hadaway one. So we've got the keywords, robots, description, that's probably too general, too long. Where's my title? Index and follow. Where's my title? There. Okay. On the Hadaway one, family. That's not enough. Give me more. So family, law, solicitors, and your town name would be great. Family on its own isn't enough. As I say, please don't, I'm trying to improve things. I've never seen a solicitor's site that's got this right on all of their pages, so it's well worth taking the time doing this because it makes dramatic improvement. So, Mark, you asked, if you get the title and description right on each page, each and every page, does it improve your SEO? Absolutely. It is one of the most important things to do. If you get that right and you put enough content on the page and your keywords that you're targeting, so if I was doing family law solicitor Burnley, are in the page because they fit, not because they're crammed in there, as in the old SEO days, then yes, that makes a massive difference. So that's definitely worth doing. Do we do research? Mark then says, do research keywords on AdWords and get in description? Yes, absolutely. As I said, you need to get those keywords in there. Mark's a Marketing for Solicitors member, so there's a whole section in the private zone, the members area, telling you how to do keyword research. Question from Richard. Sorry, I'm late. Don't worry about that, Richard. To interact. Sorry, daft question. Certainly can do, Richard. Richard said he's installing, having Website Genie added to his website, which he's moving over to WordPress because it was on Joomla, but as he's found, Joomla isn't the most friendly kind of software out there. Richard said, will we look at other parts on the website in terms of interaction? What I'll say to you, Richard, and anyone else signing up for Website Genie, let's book a free half-an-hour conversation so that I can take you through one-on-one the changes you need to make and where you can make improvements, and we'll look at that again after 3 months and compare the figures and see how well it's going. So I'd be happy to help you with that. So just get in touch with me once it's done. Let's schedule that call and let's talk about the changes you need to make. Because it will be on WordPress, which is so much easier, you'll be able to do those instantly. So back to today. Keep your questions coming and I will come back to them. As I say, purpose of today is for me to push you over the line and get you to start taking action. That's all I want you to do from today. I'd love you to start moving things forward and make things change. And as I say, the benefit of your website is you change these things, you change them for good. It's not just this month, it's next month, the month after, and for the next year that it is a better website and performs better for you. So it's a very lovely thing to do. So step one was getting your website right so that more people find it. Step two was getting more people to contact, make more people contact you from your website. And step three is to turn more of those leads into clients. Let's look at that, and let's look at it by first looking at these lovely guys cleaning windows. And at the moment, again, another problem I consistently find is what we're talking about here is the follow-up process from a lead to becoming a client. There will definitely be leaking buckets in your process. So imagine these guys, they do all of their preparation right, they check their ropes not frayed, which is quite important, they check their harnesses on properly, they clip on, they fill their bucket with water, they go down 40 stories and start washing, realize they've got a hole in their bucket and they've got to go back and start the process again. At the moment, I can almost guarantee that you've got these leaks in your system so that you're getting to the point that your clients are getting to the point they're frustrated, they're not making contact with you. And for example, if they're going through this process looking for a solicitor, they find you, they like your website, they get in touch, you've done everything well. The first thing they do is get to a receptionist that says that they're phoning up as a new client. Who do you want to speak to? I don't know, I'm trying to move house. Is it a property matter? Which office do you want? I don't know, I'm just trying to phone to get you to be my solicitor. I need to know which office. Do you want Mr. Jones or do you want Mrs. She's in this office, he's in that office. And you may think I exaggerate, but I promise you, 9 out of every 10 solicitors I phone, that's the response your client first gets, unless you have an external service taking those initial inquiries, which I strongly recommend. Your receptionist has too many things to do. Normally, he or she is not the best person to be handling that first client inquiry. And the other problem with first client inquiries is if your receptionist isn't there, it then diverts around the office. They don't want to answer the phone, so they don't deal with it properly. And you will be leaking clients hand over fist by not having proper follow-up systems. And one of the Marketing for Solicitors members asked me last month, or 2 months ago, in the monthly newsletter, which is sent out, exactly about this and how he can improve his system, and I said the biggest improvement he could make would be to stop the calls coming into the receptionist in the office, but to send it to a call center which has, instead of one person sitting there, 10 people, and their job is solely to sound happy, pick up the phone and put the client through to the right person. And they know that inquiries coming from the website, are worth money to that firm, and so they will do absolutely everything to ensure that they turn into a new client. So when it comes to your leaks, if you haven't done this recently, go and sit within earshot of your reception. Go and have a listen. Make sure that your clients are being dealt with very quickly. If they're not, think about getting a free phone number, redirecting it to a call center, and getting them to handle those inquiries. And bear in mind that the cost of that could be as little as £30 a month, depending on how many calls you get. So we're not talking about a substantial amount of money, but the difference is if I'm a client and I look at your website and get in touch and I'm told, oh, the person that deals with that isn't in at the moment, give me a number, they'll phone you back. The next thing I do is move straight on to the next website that I was looking at, and if they're there, you've lost me as a client. All of that good work you've done on your website before now is completely thrown out of the window, wasted, because you haven't done the next bit. So it's absolutely vital that you get this right. Whereas if I go through to a call center, they're trained to convert this lead, say, okay, take some details, they fill in an inquiry form so you can track that it's come from a call center. That immediately is emailed through to the fee earner, the relevant fee earner from the type of law they've chosen. If that person's not there, they'll have a system saying, well, if he's not there, give it to this person, etc. You need that person to speak with someone more than just the initial call handler to give you a chance of turning that into a client. And many more firms, even relatively small ones now, have set up first contact centers to deal with these initial calls because they know how important it is. People will not wait for anything these days. People want everything done at lightning speed. I'm looking for this, I have this problem. I'm looking for a solicitor. I've found a solicitor. He can't help me. He's on the phone. Right. Where's the next one? He can't help me. Right. Next one. Speak. Chat. Yes, you sound great. Let's get on with it. People don't want to spend hours ringing around lots of different solicitors, and which is why the sort of argument about conveyancing only being cost related is not true. It's about efficiency, and if you can be 10 times quicker at giving a price and following up that price and being efficient, and someone's moving into their dream house, you can charge a decent price, and I've got clients that do that, and get the instruction, because you can stress the importance of a house move to someone. It's never just about price, and if conveyancing is sold on that basis, you're fighting a losing battle. You're much better off making far more cash by doing a proper job, doing a really efficient job, and charging accordingly for it. Darren's asked, Mark's asked, sorry, do you recommend a call center? Yes, absolutely. From what I've just said there, definitely worth it. Allows you to track what's working on your website as well, because every lead going through the call center goes to a separate website number, and you can check, while they're on the phone, you can even ask your call center to say, what search term did you use to find us? So you can find out what's working for you. And if you find that that's one of those pages you tweaked 3 days ago and you suddenly put in Family Solicitors Burnley and now you've got a new case from it, you know that your time is well rewarded. And there's nothing like that for motivation. And the earlier question that was asked, how can I get my staff engaged? The other thing that really works for getting staff engagement is when they see another department doing really well because they're spending time marketing and they're getting results, they very soon want to know what they're doing because they're not getting the cost targets and they want things to move and improve. So that's another great way of getting involvement. And if you get these improvements right, it really can make a difference of between 20 to 50%. And I've had one client that has improved his conversion rate to 50% just by improving this follow-up procedure, by dealing with calls quickly, phoning back more quickly, getting more information, sending follow-up letters, and dealing with the whole process much more efficiently. That's a dramatic improvement. And the obvious question I'll next ask you is, what would that be for you? What would those numbers be for you if you improved your conversion? If you get 100 inquiries a month now and 20 then turn into clients, what would happen to your bottom line if 50 of those turned into clients? What difference would that make to you? That would be substantial, wouldn't it? So all three of these parts today that I've given you, they've all got massive chances to make you far more, far busier, to give you more clients, and to give you far more instructions, far more profit costs. You've been told a way to get more visitors to your website by making simple changes which make a massive difference. You've been shown how to get more of these visitors to contact you. That's my Adore, which I'm going to have to ignore, which has reminded me I failed to unplug it. Didn't follow my checklist for webinars. they've got to do much more to get these visitors to contact you. And I've shown you how you can do that. And you've got to turn more of these leads into new clients so that you get more instructions through your door by having better follow-up procedures, by having call centers in place, by making this all work much harder for you and much more efficiently. So how can you go from where you are now to where you want to be? Well, as I said, I'll outline a way that we can talk about it. I'm not trying to sell you anything today because I don't sell from a webinar. But you can go from doing this all yourself and trying to work out what you need to do to actually following a system that's tried and tested, that's been done by other solicitors, that works, that is tailor-made to suit you and creates your one-page marketing action plan. And it's very simple to do, but it has to be it has to start from a position that you're ready to do this, and I don't say that lightly. I've worked with loads of solicitors, and most of them I've had great success with. Some of them I haven't, because they've come to me at a time when they're not really ready to make the changes. They think they'd like to be busier. They quite like the idea of getting more clients, but they're not committed to the process. They're not completely 100% ready to do it, to make the changes and to make things start happening. So they don't commit to the process. Things don't happen as you would like or as I'd like. So if you are ready, if you really do want to make these changes, I'm absolutely guarantee I can work with you and I can show you what you need to do, and I'll show you how we can do that. Because I've got the More Clients Monthly program. It's a 90-day program. We work together. I spend an hour, 90 minutes on the phone with you, working out exactly what you need to do for your firm to get more clients coming through your door more consistently on an automated basis. And I tell you how you need to do that, what you need to do to change things. And you go away and do it. I put you in touch with the right suppliers, and within 90 days you've got a new marketing system set up and things are starting to happen for you. It is as simple as that. So I'd be delighted to talk to you about that, and I'll give you a link in a minute which will show you how you can set up a call with me. We can discuss the More Clients Monthly program. Would it be right for you? Would it be suitable for you? How it works? What the cost is? And I can assure you it would be far less than you would expect, and you'll make the money back 10 times, 100 times over, because you'll actually put in place an automated marketing system. If we just spent the 90 days getting your website to the point that it was perfect, so you had the right content in the right place, you covered off all the arguments or questions that your clients have, you had strong calls to action on every page, and your follow-up procedure was tight, bang, for the next 12 months you'll get more client instructions than you've ever had from your website. You'll be in a much better position, and you'll definitely turn things around and get your money back on the money you spent on the investment in me. So there is no problem. If that's where you are, that's what you could do, and that's what can turn this thing around for you very quickly. So I will show you how to do that. I'm going to give you a link in a minute. If you've got more questions, as a couple of you have, I'm going to come to them now, so don't hang on the line. That's where you want to go if you want to be sitting on that beach in Barbados next year thinking, my goodness, I know that I'm leaving my practice, I know that I'm going to come back to 20, 30, 40 inquiries. They've all been handled in my absence because I've got automatic systems in place. Go to samsonconsulting.co.uk/MCM for More Clients Monthly. You will find on that page a link to set up a free chat with me to find out more about the More Clients Monthly program, to see if it's right for you. You'll also find a link to the Marketing for Solicitors program, which I mentioned, and also a link to your website Genie. If you did nothing else today except put your website Genie on your website, I'm certain that you'll get more inquiries from your website without doing any of the other bits we've talked about. But I would do both, because then you'll get even more leads. Website Genie, you can try it for a month. It's £20 a month, so it's not a big expense. It's guaranteed. If at the end of the month you think it's not really working, we'll give you your money back. So that's on that page as well. So I'm going to come back to the questions now. Keep them coming, and I'll keep answering for as long as you want to sit there. I'm happy to answer your questions. So Darren said, I mentioned in the email this morning, marketing action plan for a conveyancing department. I can certainly cover that. Interestingly enough, the person that asked that question hasn't turned up for the webinar, so they might follow up afterwards. In terms of the marketing for the conveyancing department, firstly, I'd say the points we've just covered. Make sure you're charging the right fees. Make sure you're selling it in the right way, so your website is as efficient as we've talked about. Obviously, Darren, I've emailed you a couple of times. I think you should have your website Genie on there, because it will get you more inquiries from those clients already on there. And then it's about getting in front of the right people. So the website is obviously a massive part of that. whether you have an estate agent referral plan, probably not preferable because they're always looking for fees. So it's about building relationships locally, potentially promoting your services so that you're doing webinars for local people in the property sector. That's often a good one for generating leads. If you're you could do a webinar about can you move house from out an estate agent. You could promote that to accountants, people that are dealing with landlords. You can promote that to independent financial advisors who are always dealing with people. The best thing for conveyancing, if you're trying to avoid the estate agent route, and you've done all you can to your website, is to get joint venture partners who will happily put your information out there and your advice, and it doesn't have to be webinars, it could be free guides, information that you're prepared to pass on to people that helps them with the moving process, which is such a stressful one. And even if it was, you can move house 20% quicker with us, you've got to get the message that works and then get it out in front of as many people as possible. And with conveyancing, you've got so many opportunities to get in front of hundreds of people that could be your clients. As I say, primarily with IFAs, accountants, maybe estate agents if they're the right type. But you're a marketing solicitors member, so perhaps the best thing for you and me to do, Darren, is have a 30-minute chat and go into that in more detail so it can be specific to you. So there's a link in the Marketing Solicitors private zone. Click that, set up a time, and we'll have a chat about you and find out what you're doing, what can be improved, and we'll go from there. But in the meantime, have a look at your website. Jeannie again. Will do. Thanks, Nick. Good man. Let's speak soon, Darren. Thank you. Mark says he's head of PI department, highly competitive area law. Would your systems work in this area? Absolutely. The website stuff works in this area. I've got some PI clients doing very well from their web marketing. The web stuff works. The follow-up process in PI is particularly important because obviously it's a specialist sector. You must, I would say, this day and age, have someone going out and signing up your clients within 24 hours of your first contact, because if you don't, someone else will dive in there. And there's people that will do that on a no sign-up, no fee basis. I've got contact details if you don't already use them. But for PI firms, that's one of the most important things. Getting your website right will absolutely work, and targeted local marketing can work well for PI because you're unlikely to get to the top of Google for personal injury. But if you start targeting search terms connected with your town and with your area, you're much more likely to get results. So all of what we've talked about today will work for PI. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, I will end the webinar now, and I'll send you an email tomorrow with a link to the recording of this webinar so you can watch it back. If you have any questions, email me from the email address that you've had all the details for this webinar from. I'll be happy to help and follow up. Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks, very informative, brilliant, much appreciated, really do appreciate that. As I say, I love doing these things. The more questions I get, the better, because the more help I can offer. So thanks for turning up, and thank you all for attending today. Hope you found it of value. There'll be a short survey. If you could fill that in now, I'd be really, really grateful, because it gives me so much useful feedback. And also, I can tailor next month's webinar, future webinars around content you want. Richard says, great. Thanks very much, Nick. Thank you, Richard. Nice one, Nick. Is that JT? Hello, JT. Very nice to see you there. Hope you're well. Enjoyed having a beer with you in London last year. Maybe we'll have to do that again before Christmas. That would be good. So, yeah, good to speak with you all. Thanks very much. Say, if you can fill in the survey for me that will pop up on your screen in about 3 seconds, I'd be really grateful. Any other questions, fire them away. Thank you all very much. Goodbye.